Front Plus. Some section of the Indian community have their own idea. For example, you have Al Jamaa, which is primarily a Muslim party. And then you've got another party called the ACDP, which wants to bring God into politics, which is something that in English is a nice word. It's called an oxymoron. I don't know how you can bring God into politics.
Don't you think, because that you just also mentioned Al Jamaat there, and they are also doing the same thing. Also, of course, making sure that they promote religion as an organization. The ACDP doing the same thing. We also have other political parties like your Patriotic Alliance. They are also very vocal in saying that they want to bring back God into schools, but not only into schools, into governance per se. Don't you think maybe this is a conversation to be had to say, can we do politics differently this time around? Like you mentioned, as a businessman, here you are also venturing into the world of politics.
I'm still a businessman, so I'm not venturing into politics.
Okay.
Politics is a vocation. So venture is actually a misnomer as a word.
Okay, I hear you.
Let me just say, so I've mentioned Al Jamaa.
And the ACDP.
In terms of political ideology and in terms of political philosophy, the statuses of political parties like Al Jamaa, Sun Party, ACDP, and even to an extent Freedom Front Plus and Inkatha are very much what we call reconstructionism. Reconstructionism means it's a nationalist ideology, and it's an ideology that is very, very dangerous. Now, just a few weeks ago, I had a debate with Action SA. I defeated them. And with Kenny Kunene of the Patriotic Alliance. And so the debate was quite a brisky, intense debate, because the Patriotic Alliance has this notion, and it's a false notion, that we will bring God into schools. Now the question I asked, and I'll ask it again, when you drive nationalism, in other words, now we have ACDP, Al Jamaa, Inkatha, Freedom Front Plus, and suddenly we have the emergence of a new entity, not new because they've been around for a couple of years, called the Patriotic Alliance, which is premised on colored nationalism, and it sprinkles, it's got sprinklings of what purportedly is Christianity.
Yeah.
Right? And they premise that on the basis of, no, but we must bring God back into schools, and we must bring God back into this, and must bring God back into that. If we have a problem with the Muslim ideology as Christians, why wouldn't we have a problem with Patriotic Alliance? Two things. One, you cannot bring God into politics. Jesus said, I'm also a theologian as a matter of interest.
I'm listening, yeah.
I've trained pastors, and I'm also a political analyst. So just to give you a background of who I am, I've been on many many radio stations, doing politics as an analyst. Forget about business, forget about being a leader of a party. I also help South Africans to understand, how do you analyze political parties, right? So firstly, the ANC is left, which is Marxist, socialist, communist, Leninist. And in that corner on the left, you have, apart from the ANC, you've got the PAC, you've got a ZAPO, you've got, as you get closer to the center, you've got Inkatha, you've got EFF, you got everybody there who wants to take from the rich and give to the poor until the rich got no more money left. On the right, which is what we call far right, we have in this country the Freedom Front Plus, because they believe they want to go back to their lager, they want an Afrikaans state, they want to have a country of their own. They don't believe we as black people have a right to be part of their country or part of governing their country. So we must just be there as slaves or second-class citizens. So that's a Freedom Front Plus on the left. And then as you get closer to the center, you've got the Democratic Alliance. And the Democratic Alliance, including Action SA. Because remember, Action SA is a split of the Democratic Alliance. Action SA, Democratic Alliance, BOSA, which includes Musi Maimane, and Rise Mzansi, their fundamental belief is very much neoliberalism, which is anything goes, secular humanism. God is not the center of life. The Constitution is, and the Bible is but one of many religions, and that even although South Africa by nature is over 80% Christian, not Christian as followers, but Christian in belief. That perception then is that, but that shouldn't be. All religions are equal. That's the perception of the Democratic Alliance and those little Smolanyana center, not even center, those to the left, to the right.
Yeah.
The organization I represent, me, Samuel H. Kennedy.
Yeah, because you are much interested in what you have to offer differently
Exactly.
from those, yeah?
The organization that I represent, the organization that I lead, the organization that I'm fortunate to be part of, because it's history making, we believe in the principle of national reconciliation. In other words, South Africa is a fractured nation. It's fractured ethnically, it's fractured economically, and it's fractured socially. And in order to get South Africans to believe in South Africanness, we need to be patriotic by nature. In other words, our first port of call is South Africa, right? And that's our belief. National reconciliation, nation building, reconstructing the country to ensure that everybody benefits, whereas right now, 30 years later, colored people, with no disrespect,